Hey, happy HubSpotters. It's your boy, George B. Thomas, and we've got a special video today because I have a special treat for you. That's right. As I'm recording this, it is the morning of day 2 to hashtag inbound 2021. And one of the cool things that we get to do is after hour shows, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. Well, guess what? You may have not had the opportunity to go to inbound or go to the after hour show, but we're bringing it to you right here. So as you can see, this was Tuesday, October 12th at 7 p.m. We'll be doing it Wednesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. as well. The panelists, we had Scott Clary, Success Story Podcast founder and senior director. We had Christina K, ResellerRatings VP of Marketing, and Troy Sandidge, iDigress Podcast founder and strategist. Let me just tell you, it was amazing. They were amazing. They are amazing. Let me just tell you that all of these people are amazing. And I had so much fun with the session. So, hey, without further ado, who cares about the like, the subscribe, or any of those things? I just want to give this piece of content to you. So go ahead and enjoy. Let's go ahead and get into the good stuff. What's up, Inbound attendees? It's your boy, George B. Thomas. Today, what a day. The first day of Inbound. We talked about cookies, and not like the Cookie Monster type. We talked about data, SEO, content, curation, and so much more. But welcome to the Inbound After Hours show. I'm super excited. I've got a ton of great human beings right here, smart human beings. And we're going to go ahead and break down day 1 of the hashtag Inbound 2021 event. Now, I will let everybody know that's watching this, that's ready to go and get it with us. I still have the Twitter feed up. So if you use the hashtag 2021 and the after hours show, like, we're going to go ahead and maybe if you ask a question or if you make a statement, I'm going to keep my eye out on it. So definitely make sure you use the hashtag. First of all, we're going to set the stage. We've got Scott Clary, Christina K, and Troy Sandidge. Did I say that right?
No
Troy?
R doesn't exist.
Son of a gun.
It's all good. It's
there
my
we go.
life.
It's all good.
We're
it's
good.
All good.
All love.
Here's what I want to do to get started, because I want everybody that's watching the after hour show to really understand who we have on screen, who they're getting ready to engage with. I'm sure most of them know. You probably brought them along with you, to be honest with you. But let's go ahead and take a couple minutes. Of course, we'll be gentlemen. We'll let ladies go first, and then we'll just work our way around the room. And let's just go ahead and talk about who you are, what you do, where you do it at, and maybe what your expertise is, so that people can kind of understand, the top right block is this, the bottom left block is this. So let's go ahead and take it away.
Let's go. Hi, I'm Christina K. I am coming in from Cleveland, Ohio. I am the VP of Marketing at ResellerRatings. And what I'm quote unquote known for, I guess you could say, is everything with MarTech tools and then RevOps.
Coming to you live, Chicago, Illinois, baby. I'm Troy Sandidge, also known as a strategy hacker at Find Troy. Everywhere, I'm a B2B marketing strategist, podcaster, and tweeter extraordinaire.
Love it. Love it. Scott, let the people know who you are, what you do, and your expertise, my man.
Yeah, for sure. What's going on, everyone? So I'm out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida right now, but normally from Toronto. Right now I'm Senior Director of Business Development at Grass Valley. I was CRO at a startup just got acquired about 3 months ago. I'm also host of the Success Story Podcast. And you can find me at Scott D. Clary. Specialty is probably sales and marketing alignment, because I usually work with a lot of early stage startups.
Love it. Love it. And Christina says Troy's been crushing Twitter today from Chicago. So that's amazing.
He has been. I didn't even have to go to the thing. I could have just watched his Twitter feed. Dude, your Twitter was tight. That was really good.
Yeah, you don't need to attend the sessions. Just that's a tweetable moment right there. Which, by the way, if we say something halfway smart or funny, make sure you put that on the hashtag 2021 inbound hashtag. By the way, I'm George B. Thomas, Impulse Creative, Inbound Evangelist. It's really HubSpot. It's video. I love me some video, and I love to do podcasting too. Like, those are just the things that really get me going. I wake up in the morning, I go to play. I really never go to work. So with that said, people know who we are. Let's start with the most important question. This might be the one that everybody is wondering. I want to know if you guys knew this going in. Who knew that Ted Lasso was going to be such an inbound hit? What? Like, first of all, on this panel, who's a fan, and like, why? Like, is anybody on this panel a fan of Ted Lasso?
I
Full
can't say I
disclosure,
am.
Christina.
I haven't seen it either. So
Christina, don't come for me. Don't come
I'm
for
a
me
fan.
yet.
Okay, so I'm a fan of Jason
I was like,
Sudeikis, but that's like I don't know Ted Lasso that well.
See,
But I do.
here's the thing, Scott. I was depressed all day. And I feel good about myself right now because all day I was like, I have not watched this show. Like I have serious FOMO, and now I'm with my people. So this is absolutely amazing. Let's really, really get into the good stuff. I want to know, and I'll just toss it up. You guys can kind of figure out how we want to go through this. Why do you guys attend Inbound? Like, what's the historical value that you've gotten out of the event?
Heavy.
I mean, for me,
No, I mean-
I'll kick it off.
I was like,
go ahead.
yeah, I was like,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, it's all good.
No, I was gonna say, like HubSpot is iconic, and I think it's one of those companies when they put on an event, it attracts the absolute best. And this was obviously before COVID and whatnot. But I think that doubling down on the importance of a company like HubSpot putting on an event, I think that in a virtual world, putting on an event is tough. I think it's tough to get people to pay attention, to care, to show up. And I think that if you have companies like HubSpot that can attract the talent, do have the budget to put on something big, and I think it like behooves them to not do it, because I think that they're the ones that can attract the eyeballs, get people in the right rooms, get the right people on the stage that a lot of companies unfortunately can't do. And I think that that's something that we need in a virtual world. So that's why I'm excited that they're still doing it, obviously, and that that's the value that I get out of it.
Yeah, love it. Christina or Troy?
Yeah. For me, I think, well, HubSpot for me really helped me build my career, honestly. So it's been part of my story for a very long time. And then just the heart that HubSpot has for the community and even people who like nonprofits, things like that. I think for me, that's what keeps me coming back. And then just learning, meeting people like Troy and Scott and George. I've tweeted with y'all, so meeting you in virtual person's great. But I just love really like-minded people. And for me, I grew up in the conference world with my parents. And so I knew that love for conferences. But for me, it's just like HubSpot's home. And that's why I come back every year.
Love it.
There's
Troy.
a lot of tweetable moments here, y'all. HubSpot
There
is
is.
home. I mean, Scott dropped some nuggets. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't do it right now, so please do it for me and tag me in it. I think for me, if I could be really real, and I typically like to be that way. I don't know why we premise with that. In my space, in the marketing space, we still searching for more people that look like us, that sounds like us, to give that value. And I knew HubSpot, that event, they were really putting in more diversity in all different facets and forms to show like, hey, you in this profession, there are people who look like you, who talk like you, who are from where you from,
Yeah.
who are making it, who are killing it, who are doing it. And we want them to educate you, empower you, inspire you, have Q&A so you can grow and be where they are in future times. So I think that's something that I think since this pandemic, we've seen that highlighting spotlight a lot more. And I definitely commend them for what they're doing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's funny because, by the way, if I ask the panel a question, chat panel, I love that you're engaging, right? Like Devin, you put I'm smarter when I come out than when I came in. Dan Tyre, absolutely. It's about the people. I'll tell you, for me personally, at this point, it's a matter of giving back, right? If I look at my journey since 2012, I went from an inbound zero to an inbound hero, meaning I knew nothing about HubSpot. That's tweetable, Troy. You might have a minute to throw that one out there. But here's the deal. I knew nothing about HubSpot in 2012. I was literally a design developer. A six-pack of Coke and a pizza came in one side, a website came out the other. And all of a sudden in 2012, I was like, I want to be a marketer, which nobody said ever in their life, by the way. But so now it's like, I just want to give back to the community. I want to give back to HubSpot, back to inbound, back to the people, because it has afforded this fun, exciting, entertaining life that I get to live. So here's the thing too. Next question is, historically or even this year, is there something that you look forward to or did look forward to this year where you're like, oh yeah, I'm all in? Like, what's that thing?
So, I'm gonna go for you. Got Troy?
Go ahead.
Go? Cool. Okay. So this year it's a really cool thing for like at Reseller Ratings. We've if you hear grunts in the background, that's my dog, and I'm really sorry. So if you hear these random grunts, it is not me, it is my dog. Okay, I will preference that. I promise it's my dog. But and so I think it's taking like our business to the next level. And for us, we have like no rules per se. We don't have a parent company, so we can just like take it. So for this year for inbound, it's really just seeing that no rules exist for us, especially with like GTM and like ICP and things like that. And when I don't remember who was talking, it's one of the it was the session on like customer education, and that's huge for us because our biggest flaw we've learned and like feedback is our customers don't know all of our capabilities, and that's like a huge thing in any business. And so having that with inbound and helping that for me help drive that with my C-suite. I'm like, hey, they're saying it, we need to do this. And so like they've really bought into HubSpot too. And so having that backup, I guess you can say like my HubSpot squad, back me up. We got this.
And that session, I think it was the gentleman from North Pass, but
yes,
it was the one, the only, the rock star, Courtney Sembler from HubSpot Academy that was laying down some tracks on that session. That was absolutely amazing. I loved that session. I was in there as well. And yeah, Christina, you could have blamed the grunting on me, just throwing that out there. Nobody even needed to know that you had a dog. So Troy and Scott, what are you excited for? What have you been excited for? Like, talk me through that.
What am I excited for? Well, I think that, so the thing that I'm excited for, I think, is that it sort of comes back to COVID and the shakeup that we've had over the past 2 years. I think that for me, like all the topics that we cover over the next 2 days, it's all about being able to upskill yourself and having that outlet to learn from the best. And I don't think we took it as seriously as we did maybe this time around, because if you're not upskilling, like, I mean, like there's so many different topics that are good. So I don't want to like dive into one in particular, because like every single discussion is different. But it's just the ability to upskill. That's what gets me excited about something like this.
Let's just set the stage. It's been, for a lot of people, this might have still been their first event, like professionally. And we're still getting the rust off. We're in the sophomore year, going into the junior year of the pandemic. And let's be real. I don't know about some of y'all, but I know a lot of people from Twitter who haven't been on Twitter in years because of the Facebook shutdown situation. Welcome back. I've been here the whole time. Welcome back. And it was an eye opener. Like, yo, the stuff that I was doing during the pandemic, it's not working no more. I need to educate myself. I need to remind myself of different things, relearn some things, unlearn some things, rework some things, network, all the stuff. And I think this has allowed a lot of people in the professional space, marketers, we always need help. Salespeople, we need help. Rev ops, growth people. It's all just a conglomerate of people who just like, hey, I need to connect and figure out what are people saying, because if we're just in this narrow-minded silo for so long, I don't know what's out there. If I can have a conference and people giving me insights and different vantage points, diverse vantage points at that, to show me some loopholes and potholes I can avoid, sign me up. It's going to be worth the money. It's going to be worth the investment in the 3 days. And I'm hoping that as we transition, everyone here is like, I have actual takeaways to do something to hopefully keep my business going or grow. And so I think it was writing on the wall. Let's all join and see what we can find.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny, Troy, you mentioned like the Facebook outage. The worst thing about the Facebook outage, I was on vacation. I literally had cold sweats. I'm like, no, not right now. Like, I don't want to look at my device. I don't want to read the news. Like, I want to enjoy my vacation. Here's the thing. One of the things I love to do, I love to find a hashtag one thing. So the sessions that you're able to go today, hashtag one thing means if you had to boil today down to one thing that you would implement for your business, or you would tell somebody that they need to implement for their business immediately, what would today's hashtag one thing be for you guys?
I think that I'll start, and then whoever wants to jump in after. I thought that something that was really good. It was one of my sessions that I marked as like a session that I actually liked. So it was, I hope I pronounced his name right, Sangram Vajri. He was a co-founder of Terminus. And what I liked about his session was that he spoke about, it was not just product market fit, or not just, well, he started with problem market fit, which a lot of people don't even think about. They try and figure out product market fit right away. There's also platform market fit. And it was that the fact that when you're taking your product to market, it's not like a set it and forget it, which I think a lot of companies do. It's a constant effort of understanding and iterating and figuring things out. And if you don't do that, then you'll be disrupted. And I think that that's probably the one thing that I think a lot of companies have realized over the past 2 years. So I think that's probably one of the most important things. Even if you find that, that product market fit, it's not done. And I think the companies that do win, like the HubSpots, and you mentioned Play Bigger, which actually speaks about Benioff and Salesforce and that whole thing. It's all about finding that platform market fit after you find that product market fit. And you don't get there unless you can constantly iterate and improve and test and try new things. So HubSpot's done a crazy job doing that. Obviously, that's why we're all sitting here today. But I think that message and that whole discussion was something that really resonated with me.
I think I'm not a hashtag specialist. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't think so.
That wasn't a hashtag. I'm so sorry. That was not a hashtag at all.
I think for me, hashtag where's my community at? I think it resonates in so many ways. We think our community is a certain way, certain tone, because we have built a following on a certain platform. We've been there for decades, and maybe it's made you 6 figs, 7 figs, 8 figs plus that I don't gotta do nothing. But they never thought, where's my community really at? Like right now. When I mean at, it's not like one set. Oh, they transitioned. I need to go maintain that relationship with them wherever they are. But then also make sure that I have a plug to my community wherever they are in a way that my community, where it's my own land. And so you see now it's like building community. Community is COVID proof. When everything shut down, you don't have access. I haven't heard from that person in a while. Let me check in on that business because you have my heart. You are on top of my mind versus, yeah, you have a big following, but I don't remember you. What makes you different from anybody else? So where is your community at? I think that's why we're all here because, hey, I don't know about y'all, but I'm like, my emails need to come up a little bit more. I need to bring my community from Twitter to other places, connect my peeps from Twitter to LinkedIn, just build and expand that community. So where is your community at? And if you don't know, you need to put in some work to figure it out.
Yeah, I love that you bring that. Christina, I'm going to circle back around to you because I'm actually going to share something that I haven't shared with anybody. But Troy, since you went in this direction, I feel like it's a valid conversation piece. I just kind of made funny that on vacation, Facebook went down. But in my marketing heart and soul, I was like, well, okay, but what if it didn't come back? Like, how jacked would I be right now? So I want everybody to know what I did when I got back from vacation. I literally had 1 day of vacation where I got back, and it was kind of my vacation from my vacation. I literally set up a Discord channel so that I can start to move communities from these platforms into a secondary space, a Discord channel where it's actually more streamlined and one-to-one and a little bit more of air quotes here owned instead of like just being reliant on these behemoths, if you will, that can make any decision that they want to make on what's going to happen, that the community sees us, doesn't see us, those types of things. So anyway, Christina, what are your thoughts?
So actually, it's a combination of Scott and Troy, what you were talking about, and even you, George, just about with like community factor of your like customers or even like prospects or your like ideal customers. It's really seeing where they are, but also how they want to be like addressed. And I'm sorry about that. He seems to always grunt when I'm talking, but and it's a one thing I think Yamane was saying. I think it was about with like having the C in CRM, and for us that's a huge thing. And I know HubSpot's big play with their CRM, and or on their CRM, and it's incredible. But with that, you can find like where they are, but how they want to be talked to. Maybe it isn't an email, maybe it is a phone call or a text message, things like that, because that can really help your relationship factor. And for us, well, with all the sessions that I've attended today, it really empathy and like finding who your customers are, putting them number one is the most important for anything.
Almost goes back to what Dan Tyler said in the chat, right? It's about the people. It's about the humans,
Yep.
Which that's what I've always loved about HubSpot. It's like, don't call me a customer, right? 2013, yep. going old school. Don't call me a customer. I'm a human, right? So it's funny you mentioned Yamane, and I actually want to dive into let's talk about the Dharmesh, Brian, Yamane keynote. Any general, I know I have some, but any general thoughts to that session and kind of what went down? Was there something that you pulled out of it that impacted you? Let's go down that road.
For me, what impacted me or just sparked in me is just, it shows that HubSpot's listening and also that they care. But also for me, it's wow, with all of the new announcements and everything that they were talking about, they are, the core of it all is they're humans. Basically they're people, like we've been saying this whole time. And it just made me feel, another reason why I come to Inbound, because it's like that every year, and they just don't do that for a sales play or just to say hey, this is how we are on camera, but just really how they are. So I feel that conversation for me just was ooh, I want this, and this is so amazing, and things like that, just because HubSpot is the way to get to your not customers, your people, in a light to how they want to be connected with you.
I think I want to sort of double down on what Christina said. I think that the one thing I've always liked about HubSpot, and we can see it in that particular keynote, or just with the many people that work at HubSpot, they are human focused. They live and breathe, and they're a different kind of good person. The average person you just run into at HubSpot, they're just a good person, and they just want to help. And that's something that a lot of companies say they are, but not every company lives and breathes it. And I think that Yamane, I think she was an incredible fit for, heading up HubSpot. I'm glad they made that call. She was great at Dropbox. I'm just happy that they're living and sort of actioning out what they evangelize. So that's my takeaway, and I'm happy with that. No surprise though, to be honest.
Yeah. Troy, thoughts?
I forgot who tweeted it, so if y'all can find me who it is, tag me. I so many scrolls and so many things going on. They simply said HubSpot was the Apple of the CRM. And I also think, at least I'm in the B2B space, HubSpot is kind of like the Apple in the B2B space a little bit. Because, in our space, sometimes it's just kind of we're not as vulnerable, we're not transparent, as everyone echoed, human. We're all just trying to be that certain level. And I think, and here's the thing that I didn't realize, and think of all of us here. All of us here are technically all advocates, and we're ambassadors of HubSpot. Now, it doesn't mean we're being paid or not, but just we're naturally giving it praise. And this has come from facts and truth, not just because, we're having a limelight here to shine. And I think that comes at the core of the CEO, that comes to the core of the executive staff, and all the way down, just setting the stage of we are going to be human first, and we are going to be relationships. And I'll have to be honest, everyone that I know at HubSpot, I've had a relationship with. They're not just a person that had a conversation I see their email, I can pinpoint a moment, and here it is. And so seeing it at the top, sprinkling all the way down, that shows it at its core. That's how it's done. And for us to even be having this conversation in the way that we are, clearly they've done a good job, and they're in good hands moving, in the right direction moving forward.
Yeah. Troy, I love that you bring that up, because and this is going to sound kind of weird, I think, for a second, but just hang in there with me. There are a lot of companies out there, and I could honestly care less about their turnover. If Google loses people, if Apple loses people, whatever, it pains me when somebody leaves HubSpot. If I've built a relationship with them, and then Patrick Shea, right? Mark Killens, I could just sit here and name a ton of people, and it's a small okay, this is gonna get weird. A small piece of me dies inside. No, but you know what I mean? It affects me, because it is about the humanness. It is about the relationship. It is about this, brothers and sisters in arms to conquer this world of HubSpot, Inbound Landia, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm totally glad that you brought that up. I will tell you, here's for me, I think Dharmesh Shah should be a freaking stand-up comedian. Like, I'm in my office all alone. I'm sure my wife and kids were like, what is he on? Because I'm like laughing my butt off, just like watching what he's doing, right? And the whole pizza and black olives and 11 pounds and all of that. And I'm like, this is masterful. And I was like, I was bought in. And then I'll tell you what, the next part that I was like, oh, snap. This is why I love HubSpot. Which, by the way, I think the Apple thing, Troy, was Brian when they were actually talking with Yamane. But when I tweeted this, by the way, Troy, too, this part right here, Yamane's story, because that's my love language. I love when people start here and go here. Right. And in Yamane's story of a small Indian town with dirt roads to being the CEO of freaking HubSpot, like it gave me goosebumps. And I was like, this is why I will spend the rest of my days making HubSpot tutorials, doing HubSpot shows, interviewing HubSpot project managers, because they have people that actually love what they're doing and who they're doing it for. So it's the most amazing. Like, so for me, like Dharmesh and Brian getting emotional at the end and Yamane's story, I was like, man, I love this junk. I love this. All right. So they did some releases, and you guys may have some thoughts on this or not. We can answer this or we can move past it. I'll let you guys figure it out. But I'm curious to your thoughts of like HubSpot payments, Sandboxes, some of the releases they talked about in the center of those like 2 bookmarks that I just talked about. How do you think one of these will actually impact HubSpot users / businesses in the next 6 months to a year? Like, what are your thoughts if you unpack that?
I mean, for me personally, it's going to save a lot of time and effort, I guess you could say, as much as I love making things myself with Operations Hub and other things. It's going to make my life so much easier, and we're streamlining so many processes with like sales and marketing alignment and with payments and the structure for associations and the split deals. It's so huge for us for CS, and it's just going to make, I think for us internally, it's also going to make it more of like morale in a sense, because if you have a team and you can't split deals, one person's going to have their name on it. Yes, someone might get comp or spiff, but having your name next to that deal is huge, especially if you have stuff on, like we're a SaaS company. We have stuff on like TVs, with charts and things like that. So people could like get down about that, and so having split deals, so like there's so many things for me personally that I know that's going to impact the team, but also going to help me save time and also a better experience for our customers, especially with the payments, because we're going through that right now. And it's just gonna, I was like emailing. I was texting our CEO when it was going on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. He was like, Christina, he's like, pay attention. And I was like, but I'm just so excited. So for me, I just think it's going to be a game changer personally, especially with HubSpot payments. I'm excited to see what that does.
It's interesting, Christine, that you mentioned that, because I will say the one thing that I do love about being in Boston at the BCEC and like sitting in a room, man, in my office, I have some straight up serious squirrel moments, right? Like they'll mention something and I'll want to run over and mess around with it. And then I'll be like, no, I couldn't do this. If I was actually at the event, I'd like have to sit and take notes. So let me take notes. But Troy and Scott, any thoughts on like some of the releases, the way that you think it's going to impact businesses in the future? What do you guys have?
I think for me, there's so much tech out there. And I think that one of the biggest issues that companies have is stitching it all together. This is why RevOps is so important, and sales and marketing operations. So that being said, when you have a platform that does it all, that doesn't require you to stitch as much together, that's easier for in-house, like internally, like just like training your team up on it, better experience for your customers. And there's not a lot of people that can do it as well. So for me, it's just such a net positive. Straddling the sales and marketing side, more things to add on to my tech stack to try and find a way to train people up on them or to sit them together, make them talk to each other or work together. So I'm super happy. But this is why I already use HubSpot. It's because, yeah, could I use 5 other technologies that does what HubSpot does and get them all? Yeah, I could, but like I don't want to, and that's not the best way to do it. So I think that the more tech we have access to, the more we should focus on trying to get it on one platform to do as much as we possibly can. Because if not, we're going to go crazy. So
yeah, Troy, I'm going to circle back to you in a second, but I do want to just say, hey, Scott, you mentioned RevOps. By the way, tomorrow, if you're on the show today, you should probably join the show tomorrow because it's bound to be like the freaking inbound RevOps show. Just so everybody knows, that's about what's lining up. If you look at the stars and the planets. Also, Troy, Jen Berggren, hopefully I said that right, says on the hashtag inbound 2021 after show with @GeorgeB.Thomas, and @FindTroy says main takeaway is community is COVID proof. Oh, you've been tweeted, my man. You've been tweeted.
That is a good hashtag. That's a really good hashtag.
That is good. That is good.
Music to my ears.
Right. So Troy, here's the thing. Like, how do you think businesses are going to be impacted with these releases with using HubSpot in the next 6 months, next year?
Y'all know me. I like to give a little story. So 10-second story here, right? You remember how someone could tell you something and everybody tell you something like, okay, whatever. But that one person tells you something and you're like, bet, I'm about to buy it right now. You know what? I'm about to go to the gym right now. It's just everyone else told you the same thing, but that one person told you because you have that relationship with them and it just hit different. And I think what we're seeing, what the funny joke was I saw on Twitter about HubSpot 10 years ago, what was the most used word back then? And I want to say the word was innovate. So I'm going to use that word now, pun. But we're seeing the namesake of HubSpot and they're evolving and it's innovating, but the relationship is carried on all these years. And so it's like when people might have been friction from other apps, like Scott mentioned earlier, this one, you know, I have trust. I have some rapport. This lands. If they're making the shit, I'll probably need to pay attention. I'll probably need to do my due diligence, do some research, maybe on the HubSpot blog, maybe not, and go forth. And so I think of that alone, just that namesake making the shift, I need to consider this. I need to look at this a certain way. And like Christina said, with her customers and her clients, that you look at, okay, there's a trust, there's a value here. And then we who use HubSpot or our partners or collaborators or whatever, insert word there with the HubSpot universe, Marvel pun, I'm sorry. And now you're expanding it, you know, you have this extra power and it flows through all these areas, but at its core, and because we're talking about all the time, it's about humans. And knowing that what it represents when they're making these shifts, I'm excited. Now, sure, I might have seen other avenues maybe have started off, but I'm going to put a second look at it because we have that relationship and their namesake and their value that they put all the value and storytelling into this point. So just a thought.
I love that. And it's interesting because I would say HubSpot Academy, let's wrap them into this. They have built trust, a massive amount of reciprocity, right? You're just like, oh yeah, like, hey, there's a new cert. We should probably go take it. There's a new tool. We should probably go use it. Like they've done a really good job at building this ecosystem where we all kind of feel like safe and that these things are going to help our business because they've proven themselves over time. Also, I'm not sure why the Marvel reference, but I will share because I like stories too. And I actually have never really shared this with people because nobody's really asked, but I have Marvel stuff in my office. I am a Marvel fan. I do love the Marvel movies. I do read comic books, but there's one reason that I have Marvel stuff in my office. And I will share with everybody. It's because every morning when I come in, I look at the stuff on the wall and I go, today is my opportunity to be somebody's superhero. And that's literally the mindset that I have when I walk in here and what I do throughout the day. All right, moving on. Who do you think today's standout speaker is in your mind? And of course, this is probably one that you're going to attach to because you want to talk about a certain individual or email or whatever it is. So who do you think today's standout speaker is in your mind, at least for what you're doing and who you?
I was like, let's go. I think Jay from World Data. I mean, premise, the whole setup with Facebook obviously leading to the road, but honestly, email is boring. And people kind of like, eh. And he took that subject matter and made it fun and made it, he could be a stand-up comedian. I was giggling a little too much. Wife was like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's funny. Where you want email, and it's funny. But I think just debunking a lot of myths that we unfortunately still have carried on for years, us executives and professionals carried on some of these debunks, and he just gracefully challenged it all and saying this is this is what's working and validate with data. And so I think, for all of us who may be a little bit rusty on best email practices and how to take aggressive social media techniques and tactics and maybe apply some of those methodologies into the email framework, everyone's like, it's an oldie, it's not relevant now. It's still relevant, more relevant, because we saw quickly, poof, Thanos snap, another Marvel's reference. It's gone. What you gonna do? I have no way to articulate and communicate with my audience no more. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And so I definitely think it was a very relevant topic for, I think, a lot of people, even if you're very established in email, just a refresher, debunk some things, rethink some things and all that stuff. But I think too, it was introduced to a lot of people who never really touched it. Maybe they were solely a social media focus driven organization, startup, and they didn't really touch it as much. And so I think it was very interesting how he brought it all together.
I can go. For me, it was Tyler Lessard, who's VP Marketing Chief Video Strategist at Vidyard. I loved his session because it resonates with me, and it's something that I speak about a lot. It's using video, and I don't think there could be a better time to double down on how to use video effectively in marketing, in sales. Hell, I use video like when I'm doing LinkedIn campaigns, I'm sending videos. Like I'm happy that he put that together, because I think that it's more important than ever to be comfortable using video in your sales and your marketing, in everything you do, all the way down to the SDRs who are sending videos out in their emails and their LinkedIn campaigns. I think it's very important. So for me, I'm happy to put it together. And he's also really good on video. He's really charismatic. He's something that you should, I guess, strive to be if you're going to be jumping on video. He does it very well. And I think that he just shows that, like, literally anybody, if they put in, they put in the effort, they put in the practice, they can be comfortable on video, and how easy it is to sell and market when you put your face on a camera, especially in like a virtual world where we don't have that human component, or we don't have it as much. So that was mine.
Yeah, I'll upvote yours. I'm not going to actually do my whole thing, but I will let everybody know that's watching this right now. Tyler Lessard is an amazing human being. He's got a heart about as big as you can even want somebody to have. He super is down with like creating content to help people be successful. And Scott, I think that's why you fall in line to like, that was the one for you. Because he just, and again, maybe there's a theme here. He just fundamentally cares about the community that he's been able to collect at Vidyard and wants to see them do good. Right. So, all right, Christina, thoughts.
So the one session, well, all of them were amazing today, but the one that I really loved, it was this morning. It was with Cynthia Marshall with the Mavericks. She is incredible. She had me like laughing. Our SDRs were like on calls, or like, Christina, like, I'm like, sorry. It just made me feel good, and have her being like a woman in leadership, especially in organizations that usually don't have that, and especially like a diverse female like Cynthia is. It was amazing, and she just gave me so many insights of, one, like how to like manage a team better or talk to your like organization better. The one thing that I really loved, and I think why I'm like latching onto this, is because I'm all about learning about teammates and team members, and instead of just like, oh, where'd you get your degree and where'd you work last? Like, I want to hear your story, and I want to hear that because, one, that's going to help me understand you more, but also it's going to help me push you more to limits that you don't know that exist in you, because we all have our stories, and we all have things we've overcome. We have things that maybe we didn't want to do, but the reason we did it, we found out later. And I think her approach to leadership and just how she's moving this Dallas Maverick culture around is incredible. Because if anybody knows about, I'm a really big sports person. I am from Cleveland, so I'm a Browns fan, but don't hate me for that one. But thanks, awesome. That's why I also wear a lot of orange. But I know the Dallas Mavericks had a lot of bad press for different like culture things, and it was really cool to see what she's doing to turn that around, because she's definitely the woman to do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could hear her talk every day. Please write a book, and can I be your best friend? Because I loved her so much.
Inside joke just for Cleveland fans. How about that new coach, Christina? I'm just saying. Anyway.
Okay, so he's great, but he's like not my type. So he's not my type, so it's fine. But a lot of women in Cleveland watch football for him now. So
I swear, okay. It's like all of a sudden the women around my community are like, we're gonna be Browns fans now. I'm like, no, that you're not allowed to do that. I lived in Ohio. I can be a Browns fan. You cannot be. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's not why we're here. That's not why we're here. Here's the thing for me, and this may come as no surprise to people who know me. My favorite one was the one on educational content, Courtney Sembler, doing over probably 1,200 HubSpot how-to videos since 2013, creating Sprocket Talk, and just having this like thing for our company where we're like creating this content, giving back to the world, basically following HubSpot blueprint and being human and caring and trying to do these things. It's just, I was all in to what they had as far as the conversation. But I do have a close second, and it's for the nerdy side of me, and that was Jory Monroe did one on the custom report builder. Can I just get a 2-week workshop with just Jory to show me how to use the custom report builder? Because I'm like, I got to teach people how to use that tool, and I'm like, somebody help a brother out. I'm just saying, like, you can do so much in it. It's just crazy. But anyway, those were my favorites. I think they were great. I loved how they were really in depth and the value that they added. So Troy, this one might be difficult for you. Oh, go ahead, Christina.
I was going to jump on that because I loved that one too. And so this is a little bit of a story. So we went from another CRM, not mentioning that company's name, to HubSpot, and our C-suite knows how to pull reports and do that stuff in that company. And so my CEO is like, he like loves HubSpot. He's like, Christina, like, do this in HubSpot, like make it look good. Like, let's just like show him like this and how to do it. And that like session was on, and I was like, gosh, can I just ask her in the chat, like, so could you actually do this one for us instead of the demo? But it was so good. And yeah, you're right. 2 weeks with her would be so incredible, because that is so powerful. That tool is so amazing.
If you're listening, it probably couldn't be 2 weeks, but like a 1-day workshop with Jory and the team on the custom report builder, you'll probably like make tons of money. Just saying, I would pay.
Me too.
Just saying. So Troy, this one may be difficult, man, because you're like all over the socials. Like you're just, but I'm it's like when you ask somebody, what's your favorite breakfast cereal or what's your favorite movie? And they look like they got this deer in the headlight looks, because there's so many things they could choose and they're like, crap. But here it is for you. All of us. What was your favorite inbound social post today and why?
Oh man, can we vote for our own stuff?
That's not very inboundy.
I know, it's terrible. I'm gonna vote for Christina K's post, because I don't know if y'all been seeing, we've been tweeting like crazy people, amazing. But like there was one exchange where it got mega deep and it felt very inboundy, if we're using that as terminology. That led to a whole spiral that actually people reached out to me like, is this really happening? I'm like, I have no approval of anything. I am just a happy-go-lucky tweeter person. But that exchange, I know that's not a specific tweet, but I think that exchange for me was the highlight, because I just saw a boost of activity of just people who I saw wasn't really engaging on Twitter, or at least around my social universe, was just all involved in it. And then they're trying to go back. I missed something. Let me go back and try to find it. So for me, that was mine.
I will say, I don't want to vote for myself, but I would say like that engagement, like with you, like, just going back and forth on it, and your karaoke idea for a Zoom call or in-person karaoke for HubSpot correspondence, things like that. It's, for me, it just showed the community in general of HubSpot, but also it made me kind of like go back to my like college years or like pre-college when you like found out who your roommate was and you're trying to like get to know them, and then like people in like maybe like your quad or whatever, you know, and trying to, so I felt like it was like nostalgia, but it also was like, wow, like these people are real humans, I guess you could say. I know you're real, but I'm going back and forth and just that love of HubSpot, you know, and that community. But also it's not because we're talking because we want to like make our voice bigger, but we also want to make life easier on these talks like this and getting it maybe going like more on a regular basis, things like that. So I really like that aspect of our Twitter engagement, if you will, today. So that would be like my favorite tweet per se. It's not mine, but like I loved all of yours. So I guess that was my tweet of the day.
I feel like I'm going to be up late tonight trying to dig and find. Somebody has to send me this because now I'm like, what the crap happened? Now, like I'm like, I know, like, come on. Somebody has to send me this, or I'm going to be digging all night. I won't get no sleep, and then I'll be tired tomorrow. Speaking of being tired, I'll save mine. But Scott's favorite social, because mine's easy and it's kind of funny. But
well, everybody went so damn deep. I was like, okay, so mine's not like, I don't have a story behind my favorite post. You're talking, I should have gone first. Anyways, okay, so my favorite post, it was honestly just Troy saying, responding to 9 years later, what's the most overused word in marketing? And he said, I think it's pivot now. And I was just laughing because I think I said it like 3 times this morning before I read that tweet. And I'm like, oh, anyways. So I would say, first of all, Troy, you killed the Twitter game. I think that my favorite tweet is Troy's Twitter feed. And I have to kind of step up tomorrow because I didn't realize. And I was like listening to sessions. And then I was looking at like around like 4 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I guess I should have tweeted a little bit more. So anyway, so hats off to Troy for just setting the bar super high. But
I'm not worthy.
Yeah, no, for real, man. For real. It was awesome. Thank you for providing. Like I said, you didn't have to watch anything. You really could have just gone to your Twitter feed and got most of the highlights there. So that was my favorite Twitter.
Yeah, Troy, I'm not competitive at all. But just so you know, I bought another keyboard, mouse, and monitor on Amazon today, just so next day shipping, so I could try to keep up with you tomorrow, bro. Just telling you. Now, here's my favorite though, because like, first of all, I'm sort of a morning person, but not really a morning person. Okay, I can get up and I can work. I need some like caffeinated water to like get me going, that kind of thing. And I put out this tweet. By the way, I'm not talking about my own tweet. I put out this tweet with like the system that I get to sit behind. And then this tweet comes out. And I'm like, God, I wish I was that person. Right. I wish I was them right now. And it's my man, Devin, hashtag Black at Inbound, hashtag Inbound 2021, 9 hours ago. He says, learning some deep SEO skills in bed. Hashtag Inbound 2021. Pro tips casting the @Inbound tab to your TV in a game changer. Hashtag pro tip, hashtag Inbound and chill. Come on. Like, I should have just been in bed. Like, why did I even get up? I could have just totally done Inbound. I could have done Inbound from in bed. So I wanted to be Devin for a hot second. That was my favorite. All right. We're getting close. We got about 12 minutes left. People who are watching, if you do have questions for us, you can let us know in the chat pane. But I will end at least the questions that I have for us as a group with this one. Day one's over officially because the after hour show is wrapping up. What are you most excited about for tomorrow? When you look at your schedule, when you think about the journey ahead of us the next 2 days, don't go to Thursday yet, but tomorrow, what are you like? I gotta be here now.
I got 3. I can kick it off. Okay, I got 3 that I'm excited for. I got Kelly Watkins talking about growing pains, only because I work with startups, so I want to hear what she has to say. I have Brian Halligan, Sam Parr, and Sean Puri. I don't know what they're going to talk about, but the title was super interesting. It's something about hitting 1 billion ARR, selling like what is it? Something Dead. I can't remember it now, but it was I
think it was Deadpool. No, Dead. Grateful Dead.
Selling like Grateful Dead. Yeah, I remember I saw it. I'm like, well, first of all, so Troy and myself, we're both in the HubSpot podcast network. with My First Million, and they're really great characters, and they're really great guys. And I actually met Sam down in Nashville just a couple months ago for a podcast conference as well. So I'm excited to hear them. I'm sure it's going to be good. And then there was one more. What's the last one? Okay, I got one more. It was video. There was one about video podcasting, and I lost my tab, but there was one about video podcasting and content 2.0. And I think that that's something that's great for B2B, and something that if you see a video podcasting content 2.0 thing, check it out. Because if you're not figuring out a way to take your message in your business, turn it into a video podcast and use that as part of your content strategy, I think you're definitely missing the boat on that one. So I can't remember who it is, and if I find it, I'll let you know. But Andrew Hong, that's it. So check those three out. At least that's what I'm psyched about.
Who's
so
next?
I'll jump in. So yes, I am also excited about the one with Brian talking about not like Grateful Dead, but whatever they're going to talk about. I'm excited about it. The one at 7 a.m. bright and early tomorrow morning with I think Sam Jacobs, CEO of Revenue Collective. So tomorrow's the big RevOps day. It's the day of my heart. So I'm very excited for mostly all of them, to be honest with you. But Rev Collective is a really good, there's like community of marketing and sales leaders. So I'm super excited to hear from him. And then the one with Brian. And then I'm looking at my spreadsheet right now that says how much of a nerd I am. And then I think with Connor Jeffers. So Connor Jeffers, he's with Aptitude 8, I think. But I learned a lot from him just with Ops Hub, and they did a lot of webinars with him in the beginning. So I'm excited to dive in deeper with him tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Connor's like the custom object ninja guru,
Yes.
other than Remington Begg from Impulse Creative. Those two, like, put them in a room and let's talk about custom objects. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's awesome. I always say
yeah.
you can code it, HubSpot can do it. So that's what I always say.
That's it.
Y'all.
Yeah,
Gems.
tweetable moments. I'm telling you. Troy, what are you excited about?
Well, I have two. I don't have three, so I have two. One was, I believe, social responsibility. I think Sarah from Blue Land. I think social impact. I think people are sleeping on that still. And I think just embracing that is really going to help them with how many increase revenue and build more brand equity, social impact. People care now more than they ever cared before because of the intensity that we've gone through so many hurricanes. But then I want to shift, and one that I'm a B2B marketer. So obviously it makes sense. I would want to go to a B2B topic. So I think, who is it? I think it's Ty Heath and John Lombardo from LinkedIn B2B Institute. They're talking about how B2B brands grow. And what's the other part? Great marketing drives sustainable growth for companies. That sounds like my language. I say sustainable a lot, but I guess growth B2B marketer is what we use. But I'm always interested of like, how do we define growth now? Where do we go from here? Because obviously the tactics aren't working no more. And we need to just get a recharge or boost of what's going on. So I think between social impact, which I think leads into growth, and then understanding growth in a deeper level, both can help you scale. Important for me as a B2B marketer.
Is sustainable the new pivot?
Let's make it so.
Hey, just gonna throw that out. Okay, I only have two as well. I should have. I didn't know. I should have got three, but I only have two. The first one, 8:15 to 9:15. It's by Tamsin Webster, and it's the conversational case, how to script the stories that sell ideas. Man, I'm telling you, the power of being human is our ability to tell our stories that impact those around us. One thing that I always love to talk about is being the catalyst. If you want to be a catalyst for somebody in their life, you have to have a great story to set up that moment. And so I'm super excited about that one. The next one that I'm excited about, it's down here. Here we go. And this, Christina, you talked about it, Excel spreadsheet and you being nerdy. This'll show people kind of what camp I live in. Using behavioral science to improve customer success. All right. So like, think about those two things, story and behavioral science, and map those together in some type of inboundy HubSpot campaign.
and you might have something going on. All right, chat pane. We've got like 6 minutes left. Any questions? Scott, you're awesome, by the way, for putting those 3 in the chat pane. Any questions for us as a group as we close out today's Inbound After Hours show?
Seconds. I wanted to talk about St. Marshall as well. Echoing Christina K said, I was having a moment. I was not prepared to be that emotionally compromised that early in the day. Okay, she brought it. I felt like I was at home. I was like, tell me the tea. Give it to me. I mean, she said, listen to the people, learn from the people, and love the people.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, where are we going? Let's go. I'm excited. Yes. So you're probably like, what is he talking about? I think, like I said before, seeing diversity and inclusion and seeing how the way she delivered that talk in her own way, mirroring things from her own life. Because sometimes as people of color, we have to kind of refine. She brought it home. She held no punches, and it was still digestible in a professional way, a good takeaway. And so I think that was an impact for me, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. There's a whole Twitter thread on it. I'm going to talk about it now, but I just wanted to echo that moment for me at Inbound Day 1.
I'm going to go look for that. Now I got to look for 2 Twitter threads. Dang gone. And I'll tell you, it's funny to hear you talk about that. I just wanted to throw out a hashtag preach, man. That's what I feel like. It was like a moment where you just like, you know how you just get into it. Like it's just a moment. I love those moments. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll close this out. Here's to all the next moments that we have tomorrow and Thursday. Of course, if you've liked this after hour shows, make sure you join us tomorrow. Make sure you tweet it out to the Twitterverse that they missed the greatest part of Inbound, us hanging out, because many of us will actually be back tomorrow. That's what's fun. So now we know each other. You thought this one was crazy. Just wait till tomorrow. It's going to be off the chain. But until next time, make sure you're all focused on being a happy, helpful, humble human. And we'll see you in the next Inbound After Hours show.